So I've got there was a question asked on the BBC this week. Is Steve McClaren the worst manager ever in the Premier League? What do you guys think?
I think that's a bit harsh.
Yeah. I don't think he's the worst one. Maybe sort of because he's had the reputation of being an England manager and he's been a bit more high profile. But I think there's certainly been worse. You could point at Felix Magath, for example, another perhaps high profile manager, but he was awful at Fulham. Terry Connor, I think, was my worst ever manager, but he took over at Wolves. He had 13 games to try and keep Wolves up, and he didn't win one of them. He only drew 4. So I think for me, that's the worst one.
I think there's been lots. Clark was the one for Newcastle last year. He was pretty dire.
What, John Carver?
No, sorry, Carver. Who's
exactly. That's another good shout.
I'll tell you what. I wrote down 4 names before starting this: Felix Magath, John Carver, Paul Jewell, and Terry Connor. And you've just said 3 of them straight away. So I suppose that says a lot.
I think Paul Jewell's. I think he did all right.
Well, he was at Derby. He was in a bit of an impossible situation,
okay.
to be fair.
Because with him, at least he'd sort of done well bringing them up and stuff in the first place.
He didn't bring them up. It was Billy Davis.
He did something all right, though, didn't he? When the
Bradford he brought up.
Yeah, he was at Wigan, weren't he, before?
Yeah.
And he did all right at Wigan, but at Derby, he replaced Billy Davis and led the side to the lowest ever points total of 11.
Souness, he was shocking as a manager.
He's a good pundit, though.
Yeah, but I think he's sort of worked out, he's got to the conclusion he's not a good manager and he doesn't want to go back into it, or I think that ship sailed, really. I mean, he won the League Cup with Blackburn, didn't he? But never quite matched the stature of his playing career, really, did he? He was a bit disappointing. I wouldn't say, again, he's the worst, but...
Ince at Blackburn?
It's another good shout.
What about the other one, Steve Keane, yeah.
And Scolari, when he was at Chelsea, he was shocking.
Spurs have had quite a few. Christian Gross, if you go back.
He was poor.
Jacques Santini, next French coach.
Yeah.
About 12 games in 2004, so we've had more than our fair share. So, and certainly worse than Steve McClaren. So I think quite harsh to Steve McClaren, to be honest. He's obviously doing not a great job at Newcastle, but we could be here all night naming bad managers that are worse than Steve McClaren.
I was going to say, I think we've concluded that he's not the worst manager in the Premier League, but there is apparently a short list of managers to replace him. There's an 8-man shortlist, apparently, including David Moyes, Rafael Benitez and Nigel Pearson. Assuming McClaren, if McClaren does leave, who would you bring in to replace him?
A lot of the ones that have been mentioned, I just don't know if they're sort of managers that are up for a fight at the bottom end of the table.
I think Nigel Pearson would be.
Yeah, he's probably the worst of the choices, but probably the best for the situation, if that makes sense.
I guess it's when you make that change, because you're right, someone like Rafa Benitez or David Moyes, they're not going to want to get stuck in with 8 games to go, because it's almost like a lost cause. I know that with a half-decent shout of staying up because of the form of Norwich and Sunderland as well, but are they going to want a relegation on their CV if they don't manage to do the job? So if the replacement had to be made now, then you look at someone like Nigel Pearson who could get his sleeves rolled up and get right into action straight away, whereas if it was a change in the summer, then you could look at Moyes or Benitez if they had Premier League status still. So it's a case of when they pull the trigger and actually need to make that change, and that sort of will dictate who or what they can bring in.
Can you see him being sacked imminently?
You can't see Rafa Benitez wanting to go down to the Championship, can you?
No, absolutely not. And this is someone who was managing Real Madrid at the start of the season, so it'd be quite fall from grace, wouldn't it?